Hello, Casey for interwebkaiju here, and it is time for another review roundup. Up first, we have Wandavision releasing's The Velocipastor. Maybe this was overhyped for me, but I was on the fence for most of it. I liked Carol. I get that the shoddy camera work is part of the joke, but the sound levels are unexcusable. Often you can't hear what's being said, and if you turn up the volume, you'll be punished for it immediately. The premise is great. The end fights are what really sold me on the movie. So good. Also, really dug the music. Doppelganger, 1993. The dream sequences are usually good. Blood shower is extremely memorable. I actually like Drew Barrymore here and the male lead. Audio level for dialogue is usually too low. The FBI agent's acting is pretty bad, and the part with the slapping is comedically awful. I was expecting some sort of twist in the last act, but two parts I did not guess at all. The second one had me yelling at the TV in the best way possible. Quality of effects varies, but there sure were some good stuff there. Not enjoyable throughout, but there's enough to warrant a watch. The more I think about the movie, the more I like it. They live. Other than many questionable physical hits and punches, this movie is extremely solid. Story and world building expands constantly all the way until the final shot. Stylistic choices almost always work perfectly. There's only a handful of characters, but even the minimal ones are done well, both in terms of writing and acting. The score is also very, very good. Punk rock Holocaust II. Movie starts off with Julia from Fuse TV. Remember that? Fuse TV? Much Music USA? Anyone? Anyways, she's talking about how people died at a previous Warped Tour, which I'm assuming happened in the last movie, which sadly I have not seen. The decapitated body of the killer from the first movie unearths itself and is searching for his head. He goes ripping off victims' heads and placing them on his body, allowing various musicians and people play him and get some kills in. There were plenty of parts that made me laugh. I liked seeing all the bands. You got Aquabats, Sugar Cult, Bouncing Souls, Riverboat Gamblers, The Casualties, and others. There's some full songs performed that the movie lets fully play, and honestly I like that. Gives it more of that Warped Tour feel, which is where most of the footage was shot at, so that alone had me nostalgic. The movie perfectly takes itself not too seriously, but also not constantly lampooning itself, though feels cheap throughout with its effects, writing, and acting. It's okay. Also, Lloyd Kaufman's here. Operation Scorpio, also known as the Scorpion King from 1992. I had only heard about this from Them's Fightin' Words. If you like fighting movies, check out his channel. Seeing the main character train both by himself and with a master in the noodle restaurant was entertaining. He's a little punk though, and his antics get people who have only been kind and helpful to him get their life's work ruined. I get that it's to drive the plot, but it's painful to see our protagonist negatively affect everyone's lives. The movie has some really cool lighting and multiple scenes. The scorpion stance is done by the antagonist. I wish the protagonist did some of that as well, but his eel stance where he was just doing the worm had me laughing. The movie's not always enjoyable, but about halfway through on, it is really, really fun. Would recommend. Wandavision. The final should have probably been a few episodes in itself. There's some wonky camera work and effects during the fight, especially in the finale, but man did they bring it with a bunch of the best non-hero characters of the universe, great allusions to shows of the past, and Easter eggs galore. The new characters are very good as well. Also, tugged at my heartstrings more effectively than any other MCU outing. It's actually my favorite MCU media. Sharks of the Corn. First off, name and poster are amazing. The movie does drag at its 2-hour runtime, but the shark kills are funny. The silhouette shark jumping out of the cornfield to take down a helicopter is cool. And the acting and cinematography is, well, not great, but far better than what I'm used to from this tier of budget movie. There's definitely plenty of things that don't make sense in the realm of reality, for example, roaring sharks and the entire premise, but it's best just not to take the movie too seriously. The problem is, most of the scenes without a shark are uninteresting. Real fast, I do want to mention that the movie also features shark-human hybrids and Bigfoot if you're into either of those. Kwaidan. Not particularly scary, creepy, or suspenseful, Kwaidan is an anthology film that looks just phenomenal with its camera work, sets, lighting, and scene composition, especially the first two stories. Criterion release certainly doesn't hurt, as I don't even remember seeing any film grain, despite the fact that the movie originally came out in 1965. And that great quality release didn't hurt the effects. Flying fireballs still look good. Acting and sound design are also well done, but the movie is just not for me, especially with its 3-hour runtime. Thanks for watching.